whoa, you know, I look up at the stage, person's not there anymore. Oh, they're all the way over there now. Hey guys, George here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the amazing Fuji X-T2 mirrorless camera. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my highs, my lows, and most specifically, I'm going to talk to you about using a mirrorless camera after you've used a DSLR for years and years and years. I've shot Nikon for the last I don't even know how many years. It was the first DSLR I bought. Once you buy a DSLR, camera manufacturers have you a bit by the balls. You're stuck in this cycle where all the lenses you buy have to fit that body. Oh, but you can get adapters that will make your Canon lens fit on your Nikon body. For most people, switching is very expensive, and there has to be a legitimately good reason for you to want to switch. And there hasn't been, in all honesty, any reason to switch between Canon and Nikon. They're the same flippin' things. They do the same things. I had the opportunity to test out and use an X-T2 before it came out. And I'm going to tell you about the switch, because that was the biggest shock. And then I will tell you about the camera itself. Mirrorless and DSLRs are massively different. The biggest difference is a lack of a mirror, obviously. So you've got a DSLR which takes what you see through the lens, bounces it off a mirror into the pentaprism, and you see through the viewfinder what your lens is seeing. Essentially, you're seeing what your eye is seeing. With a mirrorless, that's not the case. There is no mirror, hence the name mirrorless. So the light comes into the lens, it hits the sensor, and that then sends an electronic signal up to basically a tiny little television that you look through. That shock wasn't big. There are, though, a lot of shocks to get used to seeing an electronic viewfinder. The first of which is what's known as a blackout period. So when you first look through the viewfinder, it's black until you half press the shutter. Then you see what your lens is seeing. That takes a little bit of getting used to. Whoa, you know, I look up at the stage, person's not there anymore. Oh, they're all the way over there now. That was a shock. I figured out a way around it. I started keeping both eyes open, sort of following action, then kind of doing it in a really quick motion so I didn't have this blackout period. If you're a wedding photographer, that's going to be an issue that you're going to have to start getting used to. You're going to have to change the way you shoot slightly to compensate for this blackout period when you're in a wedding venue trying to capture candid moments. So blackout, going to take some getting used to. For me, that wasn't as bad or as hard to get used to as the next thing I'm going to talk about. DSLR camera, as I mentioned way back at the beginning, pretty much shows you exactly what your eye sees. I can look through the lens and I can see what I see with my eyes. Make sense? That's not the case with a mirrorless camera. Because, again, there's no mirror to bounce the light off of, it's taking basically whatever settings you have, it's taking the exposure for that setting and showing it to you in the viewfinder. And you're like, oh man, that's amazing. It is amazing, unless you shoot mostly with off-camera flash. This was a bit of an issue to start off with, because when I shoot, I'm always using off-camera flash, and I like my ambient to flash ratio to be a bit on the more extreme side. I like to underexpose my backgrounds and then add light where I want the light. This means that when I look through my viewfinder for the first time, I couldn't see anything. And I'm like, what the hell? And then when I looked really close, I was like, oh, you know what? I can actually make out a bit of what I'm trying to photograph. Ping! Light bulb went off on my head, and I was like, because I'm underexposing the scene, the viewfinder's showing me what I'm exposed to see. Crap. Took me a little while. I sort of got used to it. I figured out ways to sort of tweak it a little bit so I can see a little bit better. All in all, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, because the camera is just showing you what you've exposed to. It's not taking into account any extra light. that you're throwing onto the scene. It can't. It doesn't know what you're going to do, and it doesn't know what sort of power you have that set to. It only knows that the camera's set to f8, 1/25th of a second. That's underexposed for this scene, and that's what it's going to show you. So those were the two big things to get used to. Blackout period with the viewfinder, and then the viewfinder showing you exactly what you've exposed to, and doesn't take into account your flash, and that makes total sense. I've gotten used to those, but just want to give a heads up to the people switching from DSLR. Those are going to throw you through a loop at first, so don't say I didn't warn you. Other things that are different, aperture. I used to shoot film. I'm old. On my old Pentax, the aperture was adjusted on the lens. That's the same with the X-T2. You adjust the aperture on the lens, which is brilliant. It's awesome because you can pick up the camera, look through, zoom in, adjust your aperture, boom, done. The command dials are really good. They're reminiscent of old film cameras again, to adjust your shutter, to adjust your ISO, and your exposure compensation. They're all dials on the top of the camera, and they're all where you would expect to see them as well. The one thing I will say regarding shutter speed, and it's only because I've shot DSLRs for so long now, I've gotten used to the fact that I have a plethora of different shutter speeds to choose from. Exposure compensation was a foreign word to me with the DSLR. I never used it. Now I have to use it because if I want 200th of a second, I need to do some exposure compensation to get there. For me, that wasn't really a big issue because I did used to shoot film, so this was just kind of like riding a bike again. I was able to pick that up again, go back and remember how I can get to the right shutter speed that I want. ISO, easy. There's nothing really to talk about there. You adjust it as you normally would. There's an amazing feature on there called a quick menu where you can store a few different settings that you want, and you can easily switch between one setting and another setting and another setting. I could see where people will really, really like this feature. So where it is on the back of the camera. You've got your LCD, you've got a command dial up here, you've got that little toggle thingy that lets you move around your focus point and navigate pictures and stuff. I can't remember what it's called. It's right next to that, and it's reasonably close to that. And what happened to me out on a shoot is I took a shot, wanted to show the guys what I had photographed, so we're looking through pictures, somewhere along the way I must have accidentally hit the quick button menu between either taking it down from my eye or putting it back up to my eye, and I changed from my setting 1 to my setting 3. Wonder what happened. All right, well, let me just take a picture. Ooh, it's black and white. And then it occurred to me I'd hit that quick setting button, and I'd changed my quick settings from 1 to 3, fixed it, apologized to the guy I was photographing, and moved on. There's also a really cool feature to control your electronic viewfinder, which makes perfect sense. The electronic viewfinder in itself is pretty amazing. Up here on the top of the camera, on this side, you would have your pop-up flash button. On this side, you have your viewfinder display button. You can have it show you nothing in the viewfinder, so everything's being shown on the LCD screen on the back. You can have it set up so that it shows you stuff on the LCD screen, but the second you put it to your eye, it switches between the LCD and the viewfinder. Or you can have it where it just shows you everything through the viewfinder. Quite a handy little button. However, it again is right here, and your shutter button, your shutter dial is right here. And somewhere just changing my shutter, probably when I had it to my eye, I'd accidentally hit that button. So when I put the camera up to my eye, nothing. No. No. Go into the menus. Viewfinder display. Fixed. Didn't take long to fix, but it was a little bit embarrassing. New camera, still getting used to it. Other than that, it was pretty seamless. I mean, a camera is a camera at the end of the day. It's just this is a different kind of camera, and it has different features that take a little bit of getting used to. So the camera itself, though, is amazing. I got it on a Thursday. On a Friday, I had to go photograph a show, a concert, so I took it with me to that. Don't worry, I wasn't a complete moron. I did bring my Nikon with me as well. I'm not going to just show up to a show and bring a camera I've never used before. I had the initial blackout issue to start off with. quickly gathered my feet, took some photos. Was blown away by the photo quality. Sharp, hardly any noise, focus was quick. Everything about it was really, really, really good. Granted, this concert was at the O2. It has really good lighting compared to photographing your local band down at the pub. This does have Wi-Fi, which is very handy. Edit, 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 edit. Low res version of my phone, and you're a hero. So that's pretty sweet. Focus, because focus on the X-T2 is really, really, really good. As far as I know, there's no way to adjust the size of my focus points on the Nikon. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. On the X-T2, there is. I never used multi-area focus. I just don't trust it. Inevitably, it focuses on some weird post in the background instead of where I want. So I always use a single focus point and I move it around. I can adjust the size of that single focus point, which is really handy. It made my focus point really tiny, as small as it will go. So if I'm photographing a full-length portrait of a person all the way over there, I can have this tiny focus point and put it on their eye, and I know it's focusing on their eye. Having that tiny focus point, brilliant, because I know it's focused. I haven't had a single back focus issue, and I've taken hundreds of photos with this thing so far. The focus is amazing. I haven't just used it for taking pictures of my son or my dog or whatever. I've taken it out on shoots for magazines. I've stripped out the metadata so that people don't go, what the hell is this camera he's using? One of my customers emailed me back saying, I don't know what camera this is you're using, but it is unbelievably sharp. He's right. I've never seen anything as sharp as this. I'm generally shooting at f8, f9, but I did do a shoot with a guitar maker and I wanted to do a lot of stuff in ambient light. So that I was shooting at 2.8 and sharp, very, very sharp. So yeah, sharp, ease of use, very, very good. I'm one of those guys that I don't even read the instruction manual. Why on earth would you not use the instruction manual? You might be missing some key feature. You're right, I might be missing some key feature. My thinking is I want to be able to use it. I want to be able to figure out how to use it, and I just want to go use it. Most of the icons from one manufacturer to the other are reasonably the same, so you know the little wrench means your settings, you know the little video camera means your video settings. It's pretty self-explanatory. There are some features in this that I came across in the menus that I've never seen before. One of them is dynamic range. Obviously, if you overexpose something by 4 stops, it's not going to help you there. That's just asinine. If you are shooting a scene with a pretty big range, it will try to help even those out a little bit, which is quite cool. Ease of use, really, really good. You can put it on shutter priority just by moving your aperture ring over to A for auto. You can put it to aperture priority by just moving your shutter dial over to A for auto. ISO on auto just by moving it like that. I haven't tried putting all 3 on auto, actually. I wonder if that's essentially fully auto. It could be. I haven't tried. I don't really ever use auto. I'm a control freak with my photography, and I like to make sure everything's how I want it. 24 megapixels, shoots 4K video. For me, that's all I really care about. It's very good in low light conditions. Its focusing is fast. It's sharp as hell. It's a pretty much all around awesome camera. I'm definitely a convert. I think it's safe to say. I gave it 5 stars. 5 stars. It's a tremendous camera, and I am definitely a Fuji convert. So, if you like the video, like the video below, leave comments, questions, whatever you have. I will be glad to answer them because I'm sure there's stuff I've missed in the video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos coming up. Until next time, I totally forgot. Down below, I'm going to put a link to my blog where you can go and read basically the same stuff you just watched, but more importantly, you can see some sample images from the camera, and I'll put some 100% crops in there so you can see the sharpness that I raved about so much. That's it this time. Promise. Bye.